Hi there, my name is Mr. Takalian and welcome to Dear Esther. We were left off after we dropped
the moon over the Sanford Junction, headlights in your retinas. Donnelly drove a grey hatchback without a bottom. All the creatures of the tarmac rose to sing to him. All manner of symbols crudely scrawled across the cliff face of my unrest. My life reduced to an electrical diagram. All my gulls have taken flight. They will no longer roost on these outcrops. The lure of the moon over the Sanford Junction is too strong.
So yes, in the previous episode, we discovered that some people that were dropped down into the caves actually survived, because at the bottom of the drop-offs where they would send all the people down, there was very, very deep water, and a lot of drawings were left behind to show that people actually had survived. And all of these candles that are being left out, I presume they're left out by myself, as there's a tent set up. And now we are continuing to walk out. There are candles everywhere. Wait. What if he's already passed away? What if this is his limbo? I mean, why else would all these candles be set up? Are they guiding you in your journey? Maybe it's just...
Of fire and soil, I chose fire. It seemed the more contemporary of the options, the more sanitary. I could not bear the thought of the reassembly of such a ruin. Stitching arm to shoulder and femur to hip, charting a line of thread like traffic stilled on a motorway, making it all acceptable for tearful aunts and traumatized uncles flown in specially for the occasion. Reduce to ash, mix with water, make a phosphorescent paint for these rocks and ceiling.
Okay then. Maybe it's just how they decided to design it to let the player know where to go, or this really is his version of Limbo. Maybe because of what he ended up doing, drinking, driving, and then ending the life of his own wife. This is his punishment? Again, these drawings. And then, what if all these drawings were actually created by himself? I can see that, I can't actually see the scratches now.
There were chemical diagrams on the mug he gave me coffee in, sticky at the handle where his hand shook. He worked for a pharmaceutical company with an office based on the outskirts of Wolverhampton. He'd been travelling back from a sales conference in Exeter, forming a strategic vision for the peddling of antacid yogurt to the European market. You could trace the connections with your finger, join the dots, and whole new compounds would be summoned into activity.
Okie dokie then. So what else could this possibly be other than Limbo? Let me see. It's a very dramatic music picking up again.
From here, I can see my armada. I collected all the letters I'd ever meant to send to you, if I'd have ever made it to the mainland, but had instead collected at the bottom of my rucksack, and I spread them out along the lost beach. Then I took each and every one, and I folded them into boats. I folded you into the creases, and then, as the sun was setting, I set the fleet to sail. Shattered into 21 pieces, I consigned you to the Atlantic, and I sat here until I'd watched all of you sink.
Oh, so the boats actually are out here. So every letter that he wrote to her, he would try to send it out. How about that? So all this time he was the only one on this island. Oh, that does boggle the mind.
A sound of torn metal, teeth running over the edge of the rocks, a moon that casts a signal. As I lay pinned beside you, the ticking of the cooling engine, and the calling from a great height, all my mind as a bypass.
So yeah, you definitely got into a car accident because he was drinking. Is that not someone over there? Definitely the figure of a person.
I've begun my voyage in a paper boat without a bottom. I will fly to the moon in it. I've been folded along a crease in time, a weakness in the sheet of life. Now you've settled on the opposite side of the paper to me. I can see your traces in the ink that soaks through the fiber, the pulped vegetation. When we become waterlogged and the cage disintegrates, we will intermingle. When this paper aeroplane leaves the cliff edge and carves parallel vapor trails in the dark, we will come together.
There was definitely someone standing here. Definitely a figurine. And he was proceeding on his journey. Yes, that I am. Okay.
If only Donnelly had experienced this, he would have realized he was his own shoreline, as am I. Just as I am becoming this island, so he became his syphilis, retreating into the burning synapses, the stones, the infection.
Well, that was a slightly creepy way of going about it.
Returning to my car afterwards, hands still shaking, and a head split open at the impact. Goodbye to tearful aunts and traumatized uncles. Goodbye to the phenomenal. Goodbye to the tangible. Goodbye Wolverhampton. Goodbye Sanford. Goodbye Cromer. Goodbye Damascus. This cliff path is slippery in the dew. It is hard to climb with such an infection. I must carve out the bad flesh and sling it from the aerial. I must become infused with the very air.
It really is considering to end it. Danger. Keep out. I wish I could. If I kept out. And then he continues his journey. Oh, that is a long way up there. Long way up. That moon is massive. Oh, there, make sure I don't fall off. Oh, we're getting very close.
I have dredged these waters for the bones of the hermit, for the traces of Donnelly, for any sign of Jakobsen's flock, for the empty bottle that would incriminate him. I have scoured this stretch of motorway 21 times, attempting to recreate his trajectory, the point when his heart stopped dead and all he saw was the moon over the Sanford Junction. He was not drunk, Esther. He was not drunk at all, and it was not his fault. It was the converging lines that doomed him. This is not a recorded natural condition. The gulls do not fly so low over the motorway and cause him to swerve. The paint scored away from his car in lines like an infection, making directly for the heart.
So he wasn't drunk. People just assumed that he was drunk. And that's why he's alone? Because people think that because of him, he killed her. Even though it wasn't his fault. It was a genuine accident.
I have run out of places to climb. I will abandon this body and take to the air. Dear Esther, I have burnt my belongings, my
controlling it.
books, this death certificate. Mine will be written all across this island. Who was Jakobsen? Who remembers him?
Jakobsen.
Donnelly has written of him, but who was Donnelly? Who remembers him? I have painted, carved, hewn, scored into this space all that I could draw from him. There will be another to these shores to remember me. I will rise from the ocean like an island without bottom, come together like a stone, become an aerial, a beacon, that they will not forget you. You've always been drawn here. One day the gulls will return and nest in our bones and our history. I will look to my left and see Esther Donnelly flying beside me. I will look to my right and see Paul Jakobsen flying beside me. They will leave white lines carved into the air to reach the mainland, where help will be sent.
So after all that time, this is what he envisioned himself. To become a gull that could just fly away and look for his soulmate.
Come back.
But that was certainly quite a game. And there was no IM collections, there was no clear thing that you're supposed to be doing. You just followed it along for the ride of it, really. So, thank you for watching. I hope you liked this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.